Okay, I'm actually really excited to talk to you guys today. I want to start doing sort of a video series of like everything that I experienced and went through my eating disorder, because I feel like it's really, really helpful when we hear other people's stories and go like, oh my gosh, I didn't connect that with my eating disorder. I didn't realize that that was due to my restricting, or that was due to my exercise behaviors, my over exercising, all of that. I think it's just really, really helpful. And there were so many things, now looking back at it, so many behaviors and personality traits and things like that, that I exhibited during my eating disorder, that I look at now and I'm like, that's very interesting. But when you do the research, you find out like, oh my gosh, but that is totally a thing that so many people in eating disorders experience. So it's just really cool. There's a lot of stuff. I don't want these videos to be too long, so I'm just going to dive into today's topic. And today we're going to be talking about hoarding. Now, not everyone who has an eating disorder is a hoarder, but it is a very, 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 very common trait to hoard things. And specifically, one of the main things that we hoard is food, which makes sense, right? When you are in an eating disorder, you are in a scarcity mindset. I really, really, really like how Tabitha Farrar talks about eating disorders, and she talks about sort of the migration theory response, and how when you are in energy deficiency, it is similar to as if you were migrating. And so this makes sense when it comes to food hoarding. If you perceive that energy is scarce because you're restricting or you're starving yourself, to be quite honest, so food in your mind is scarce, what's going to happen when you finally do see food? So say you're migrating, okay? Back way in the day. You and your tribe are migrating, and food is really, really, really scarce. And all of a sudden, you come upon an abundance of food. What are you gonna do? You're gonna start gathering it all and keeping it for yourself because I'm hungry, I need this. There's not enough of this around, okay? That's why they call it, if you like save all your money, they call you like a penny pincher. It's like, yes, I'm gonna hold on to every single penny, like don't take this away from me. That is exactly how you feel with food, because food has been so scarce in your life. When you see food, you have to hold on to it. And this is what's interesting though in eating disorders. You don't necessarily eat that food, but you need it there because it makes you feel safe and secure. I just want to share my experience with this. I first off, I didn't realize that this was associated with my eating disorder. I didn't realize that I had a problem. But in college, when I moved out of my parents' home and I had my own place, so aka I didn't have my mom's pantry anymore and I was the one stocking everything, I realized that I had to have an abundance of food around. Like, it was absolutely absurd. I would go to the store and I would buy like 5 bottles of olive oil, 10 bottles of mustard, 6 bottles of coconut aminos. I would buy like 50 packs of seaweed snacks at a time. Like, my pantry was literally overloaded. I had food hidden underneath my bed back in college. I had food in my car. I had food storage in my garage. I had food storage in my pantry and food storage in my kitchen cabinets. And I didn't think anything of it except for the few times that I moved and I literally would be carrying like boxes of pantry items into my car to then move to my next place, and I would be like, why do I have so many flax seeds? And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it's because of the scarcity mindset that I had, and I was so preoccupied and obsessed with food despite the fact that I would eat it. Or I should say, because I wouldn't eat food, I was so preoccupied about it, and it felt really safe and it felt really secure to have all that food around. And this was all my safe food, right? So like I said, the seaweed snacks, the coconut aminos, the gluten-free bread, the, whatever it was that was safe to me at that time, because I switched diets like a million times during my eating disorder: keto, vegan, paleo, raw vegan, like blah, 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 blah. But so whatever it was that was safe to me at that time, I would hoard onto it. What's interesting though about that is that even the times where, say I was keto for a time and I had some like beef jerky, if I went vegan, I would still hold on to that beef jerky. Isn't that weird? It's so weird. But food scarcity is, think about it, evolutionarily speaking, food scarcity is a big deal. Like, if you are in a land of famine, you are not going to survive. And so it only makes sense that all of a sudden we would start gathering food. What's interesting though with the eating disorders is that you don't necessarily, like I said, you don't eat the food, and it's not like I'm stocking up my pantry with 50 loaves of gluten-free bread so I can like binge on it one night. Like, no, this would take me forever to finish, but I would continue to still buy and buy and buy and buy and buy. It was such a compulsive thing. I had to buy more and more and more food. And again, this is a natural response to energy deficiency. Your body goes, okay, food is scarce. You know what? The next best thing to do is let's hoard food any single time we see it. The amount of money I'm just thinking right now that I spent on this food, because a lot of it would go bad. I would end up having to throw a lot of it out. Unwillingly, I will say that, but I think I had some friends back in college that were like, this has to go. Like, what is this? This expiration date was like 5 years ago. And I'd be like, fine, you can throw it away. Oh my gosh, it's just like so weird. What else did I want to say about this? Oh, okay, so guys, it's me. Sorry, I'm just popping in here because as I am editing this right now, I realized that I forgot something that I think is really important regarding this subject. Besides the fact that I had a bunch of food laying around in my pantry and around my house, something that came along with this too was that I hid food, specifically from other people. So when I lived back at home when I was younger, um, I would like buy food at the store that was like my special like raw goat's milk, or I would have some other sort of food that I had made that I wanted to eat, and I was so fearful. This isn't just a I didn't want others to eat it, like I'm gonna try and hide it and put it in the back of the fridge. This was like if someone ate the food that I had made and put in there, or that I wanted, or that I had spent my money on, I would literally just flip. Like, absolutely flip. My brother used to do this to me all the time, and I was so angry every single time I would go in the morning to like get my lunch that I prepared the day before, that was my perfectly, portioned out food, and it was exactly going to work in a perfect alignment with the food that I planned for the next day. I was going to wake up and I was going to have an acai bowl. My acai bowl had granola, which meant that I wasn't going to have carbs for lunch, which meant that I was going to do salmon because we were having chicken for dinner, so I couldn't do any sort of meat. I mean, you get the picture. It was just like this whole big thing. And sorry, I'm like trying to block the sun with my head. But that was something that um that was something that I did so much, like hiding food in secret places. I would go out of my way, guys, to make sure that I like got home, to make sure that no one touched my food. I would move it from place to place. So like say I had an apple, just something simple. I had an apple that I wanted to eat. So I'd like move the whole like bread box, right? And I would like put it behind the bread box, put all the bread in front, and then leave it there. But then throughout the day I would get like really anxious that like, but what if someone moved the naan bread and they found the apple behind it? So like I have to go back and I have to make sure the apple is there. So I'd go back and the apple would be there. So I'm like, it's not safe here. So then I'd have to take the apple and I'd have to like go put it somewhere else in the pantry, or go put it in my room, go put it under my pillow. Like, oh my gosh, the amount of like crazy, ridiculous things that I did, all just to keep my food safe. Gosh, I was like a freaking chipmunk. It was like, I'm trying to store it for winter. Don't take this. Like, I will destroy you if you do. I
have noticed that I'm a way better sharer now that I'm recovered. Like I go out to restaurants. I've been to restaurants a lot this past month, and honestly, I think every single time, maybe the exception of like once or twice, but every single time I have gone and I have shared my meal with someone else. Like literally like, hey, let's split this. And not a, like, let's split this and perfectly put like half of it on your plate and half of it on mine. More like family style, here's a big bowl, let's dig into it. But that's something that I couldn't do back in that day because it was so just like, oh, so frightening to me about my food, and I was so fanatic about it. So I just wanted to pop in here and just mention that because I think that this is like a really big part of the hoarding. It wasn't just like me buying a lot of food, it was like me being mama bear over this food, like overly protective about this dang apple that I wanted to eat at 4 o'clock the next day because I had everything planned out. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't even know what I'm going to eat tonight, and that's like in an hour, and I don't know, or I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, and what I ate for breakfast has absolutely no dictation on what I eat for dinner right now. I will eat what I want to eat, and if someone else eats the food, great, I will freaking make other food. It's not a big deal. Anyways, it's so fascinating. If you are doing this, trust me, this is video is not supposed to make you feel bad. This video is not supposed to make you be like, I'm so weird. No, this video is to just show you that like there's a reason why you're doing this. And all this weird crazy stuff is gonna go away once you nutritionally rehabilitate. So anyways, this is a long tangent, but let's go back into my video.
What's the solution here? Well, like everything in eating disorder recovery, the solution is to get out of energy deficiency, to get out of scarcity. How do you do that? To eat, okay? So the more and more I ate, the more and more that I realized that food is not scarce. I can eat food at any time of the day. Food is here, food is around, I'm okay. Food is coming into my body, I'm getting enough nutrition in. All of a sudden, my body didn't feel like, or my brain didn't feel like it needed to hoard all of this food around. And I didn't need to take all of these snacks and all these things with me when I'm like going somewhere. Like I remember when I was traveling to France many years ago, in my suitcase, I was packing like granola and nutrition bars and like all of these things with me. I'm like, I'm going to freaking France. Like, why can't I just eat the food that they have over there? But no, I had to have my safe food with me. I couldn't like travel across the world without having this food. But the more and more I got out of energy deficiency and started eating and healed my relationship to food and ate abundantly, nutritionally rehabilitated, all of a sudden I don't care about that. I went on a trip about a month ago, and I remember I was sitting on the plane and I was like, oh, I'm hungry. And then I was like, oh, I didn't pack anything to eat. So what did I do? I freaking just ate what they gave me on the plane because food is food, and if you're hungry, you gotta eat. Doesn't taste the best, but that's not always the matter, and I don't care. I'll eat better food later. It's not such like a huge thing when you're in energy deficiency. I remember it was such a huge thing to like, food has to taste good. Like if I'm gonna eat it, it better taste good. But now I'm like, whatever. If it doesn't taste good, it doesn't taste good. Like obviously I like good food, but you get the picture here. Like it's not a big deal if I eat like a bland meal. I'm like, okay, whatever. But anyways, that was the first time I realized that like, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't like prepare a like pantry of food in my suitcase before going on this trip where there's abundant amount of food over there too. So yeah, and my pantry space is definitely way less now. Like I've obviously have a pantry and I have some staples, but if I have olive oil, I'm not gonna go out and buy more olive oil. Like, not wasting my money on that stuff anymore. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you are a hoarder, I know that sounds derogatory, but if you hoard your food, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to actually hear your story about this. I think it is really interesting when we hear each other's stories, and it really helps us recover too, because it helps us realize like, oh wow, this is a weird thing. Okay, I should recover. I know it's not as easy as that, but anyways, If you are a hoarder, don't worry, it will go away once you begin to eat and get out of the energy deficiency. Simple, hard, but simple. I get it. If you're needing help in your eating disorder recovery, then definitely just send me an email and let's get you on a free call. I have coached many women through this process, and I myself have been through this process, which I think is what's really helpful. I love working with therapists, I love working with doctors and all of that. I think eating disorders really require a team, and I'm not saying that I am an expert in the field, but I'm saying I am someone who has been through this and who has helped others and who can help coach you through this experience along with a team of other professionals. So I hope that helps for you guys today, and I will see you in my next video.